All right, so what's up, guys? So we are out here on another run, out here doing this craziness for all you guys to simply sit back, watch, admire, and enjoy, right? As it's like pitch black out here. We can't even see anything, right? And it's not night per se, right? It's super early in the morning. So early that the sun hasn't even came out yet, right? It's just a sign that we're off to a great start, off to making a killing for the day, right? Season the day, carpe diem, right? And what better way to do it than getting up super early in the morning and doing a run, right? Awesome thing to do, right? Especially if you know you have plenty of things to do throughout the day, like me, right? I got work to do, stuff to accomplish, and you know I gotta get this run out of the way, right? And we all have to work out and do that, right? Hopefully, come on, if you want to get a nicer body or improve, you know, your mental being, right? Because that's gonna come from the fitness too, right? Not only in the physical realm, but in the mental as well. So regarding the mental, one big topic that tends to get ignored is that of knowing yourself, right? So many people neglect this, right? They don't understand it, right? Because it takes to know oneself to be one, right? We have to figure out who we are, what we're good at, and so forth, right? In order to become successful and leave a mark on this planet, right? So many people have no idea who they are, and that's pretty much all you have to reflect upon, right? Because all we are is us, right? You don't live through, you know, the person's lens. You live through your own, right? That's all you have and all you will be, right, throughout your duration on this earth. So, you know, for you, I want to figure out 4 tips in order to know yourself. And tip number 1 is to find your purpose, right? Find your reason that you're here on this planet with us, right? So many people have so many different reasons, and a lot of people, to be frank, have no idea why they're here, right? They can go through the basic monotony day-to-day activities, right? Wake up, go to work, do the same thing over and over again, hate their job, right? Stare at the clock, wait for the time to be over, right? Sounds horrible, right? It sounds depressing, right? I'd hate to do that, right? Even just thinking about it makes you feel down, right? It sucks. But so many people who lack that purpose, lack that inner reason and motivation, do that, right? They repeat the same things over and over again, but in a monotonous manner, right? There's no reason behind them. And while, you know, things like money and, you know, status and benefits may help in coping with that short term, that's not the end all be all, right? It's not a good long-term solution, right? Like a purpose would provide, because so many people, you know, lay on their deathbed and only figure out their purpose then, right? The reason as to being on this earth, right? So many people don't figure that out until it's too late, right? When their days are short, limited. And, you know, far too often we can fall into that trap too, right? So it's gonna take, you know, knowing yourself through figuring out your purpose in order to get there, right? To get that self-knowledge, right? And knowing why you're here on this earth, right? It's almost evasive, right? We can lose our grip on, you know, that sort of insight, right? Because it could keep escaping us by us going through the same loop, right? Getting up, going to class, going to work, right? You often forget why you're here, and you can wind up in loops, catastrophic ones like procrastination, anxiety, depression. For so many people, very familiar. And that's what it's caused by, that lack of purpose, right? From not knowing yourself. And really figuring out your purpose is going to help solve that issue. And once you have that, you got to figure out what your weaknesses are, right? As a good starting point, right? What you suck at, right? We all suck at things, right? We're not perfect people, right? Michael Jordan might be a perfect basketball player, but what about, other areas? Is he the greatest painter? Probably not, right? He has room to improve. It's a weakness, and it's okay, right? We're not amazing at everything we do, right? They become or are weaknesses, right? But it creates room for improvement, room to get better and make lasting changes, right? For the better. And really pondering that and considering that ideology, figuring out, okay, what do I suck at? What do I need to work at? Right? And it's okay, and it can almost be crushing to your own ego, right? Because our egos want us, as a defense mechanism, to feel great at everything, right? As if we can do wrong. We can never get rejection. But when you get it, it could be the worst hit to it, right? It'll make you want to avoid it entirely. Avoid reflecting on your own weaknesses, right? Something that's super important, right? Because if you don't pay attention to them, they can be exploited, right? And taken advantage of, right? If you lack that awareness, right? Not only to work on it, but if you go to battle, you go to war, right? In life, you go to work, and you don't know what you're bad at, someone can take advantage of it, right? If you're too nice, someone will take advantage of that. If you're too mean, someone will take advantage of that, right? They'll try to put you down and scorn you for it. So figuring out what you're not so great at, is something beneficial, in knowing yourself and succeeding. And then figuring out what you're strong at is also pretty much equally important, right? Figure out what you're good at, of course, duh, because you want to continue in that awesomeness, right? In that success that you are probably already enjoying from it, right? From being good at something, right? You've earned the pats on your back, so you might as well give them to you, right? Because you know what you're good at, and you just continue shining, right? Because we, as humans, if you've ever heard of the concept of specialization, we have certain skills that are to be offered to the world, special talents, right? Within every company, Fortune 500 and so forth, right? Of remarkable success, there are going to be specialists, right? Because not one person can handle everything or is good at doing everything they do, right? You'll have someone managing the office, someone, you have the engineers who are very technical, right? You'll have the public relations people who are very good with people, right? There's not necessarily always going to be one person who could do it all, and you wouldn't want them to, because it'd be such a burden. But by them figuring themselves out, knowing what their strengths are, they can apply for the right roles and end up in the right positions that accentuate their strengths, right? That make them or put them in the opportunity to take advantage of, the goodness that they have to offer the world, right? What they excel at, right? And there's nothing wrong with them taking advantage of that and giving back to a company through that way, right? And even if you look at like every professional sports team, At the NBA, they don't have, 10 LeBron Jameses on every team, right? They may have one or two superstars. LeBron asks people that can do anything you ask them, and they'll have a bunch of different role players, right? They'll have catch and shoot 3-point shooters. They'll have defenders, specialists, right? They'll have, ball handlers and so forth, right? They need all these weapons. But, all these people specialize in one or two things max, right? And they make decent livings doing it. And they help their teams out tremendously, because whatever their team needs, they can be confident that they're going to put somebody in that knows their strengths, that knows themselves. So once you figure out your strengths, you can really take advantage and go and do the great things that you were meant to do, right? Because if, let's say, your favorite spot of 3-point shooter, the NBA decides that he or she wants to be a defender, right? But they may not be so good, they may not be their role, and they try to only do the defense, it's only going to hold them back, because their 3-point skills are going to be on display, right? Their strengths per se. And it's something that you got to consider, right? It's all fine and dandy, right? Being good at some things and not as good at others. So regarding a fourth tip, in regards to knowing yourself, is figuring out your own ego, right? We might have mentioned that before, because far too often our ego can block our own personal introspection, right? Because we have to do that inward thinking, why we can be constantly looking outward, looking at what other people have and what we don't have, and so forth. But we have to figure out what we're doing and in our mission and so forth. But our ego can steer us off course, right, by telling us that we may be unnecessarily, too good at something, or better than other people, right? So many people are considered cocky or arrogant, or simply, I'm looking for the word ignorant, right? Because they can't see the fault in themselves and the greatness in other people, right? Being good at knowing yourself is also requiring you to know the greatness and faults in other people, because the greatness you can copy and emulate and replicate, and the weaknesses you can see in yourself, reflect and remove, right? Something great, something awesome, right? Just like that guy speeding at this time of the day. Had I not looked, probably would have hit me. Who knows? So when I'm in a car, I go and drive, I make sure not to do that, not to speed and look out for people, right? As they run, especially at this time of day, right? Animals, a bunch of craziness are in the road, people like me. So really think about that, right? Know yourself, do some deep thinking, and you will get there. You will be able to tackle the world through your newfound awareness of yourself. And as always, we say thank you very much for watching, and